Greetings everybody, this is Kai Pepper, and today I want to talk about Squad. This game has me feeling very conflicted, more than any game ever has. Some days it's my favorite game, and other days I hope for World War III to start to end my suffering. A little bit of history. Squad has gone through many changes over the years, and recently under OWI, they've released a combat infantry overhaul patch, which reworked the entire game into being more punishing and team heavy, eliminating lone wolf and run and gun styles. On paper, this update pulls Squad closer to this original Project Reality type vision. On paper. However, fans and players have complained that the overhaul has went too far, and changed the game for the worse. OWI has responded with a 7.1 patch, which helps smoothen over the weapon handling and suppression, which is where we are now. I really want to talk about Squad for a while now, because I really love the concept. I enjoyed Project Reality as a kid, so I really want to see a spiritual successor to succeed. However, as of right now, Squad is leaving me feeling conflicted. What do I mean? Well, try to find an unlocked squad, pick your weapon, fight your weapon sway, and then I'll tell you. Let's jump into the issues at hand. OWI adding suppression is not a bad thing at all. It's a very real tactic that can be used to absolutely devastating effects. Having fire superiority can be the difference from life and death in both squad and warfare. The issue arises with how it's implemented. Getting shot at in any way is immediate intense suppression. You can't see, can't hold still, can't respond. The suppression should not be so sensitive that if someone sneezes at you, you start blind firing and suffering from a damn seizure. And that's the biggest issue. It's so sensitive and too strong. One stray bullet that misses you is enough to put you out of the fight. No, you're not hurt, you just can't hit anything now. It also lasts so long that once the firing stops, you should be able to return fire and see and all that stuff. But instead it just lingers for half an hour. This makes the game feel very sluggish and very tedious. Now I'm going to suggest some fixes, and I want to make it clear I'm asking for visual filters to be changed, not the gameplay effect like weapon sway. With that being said, I think Squad should have a visual suppression effect, more like Hell Let Loose's visual effect. Now, I think Hell Let Loose has a lot of issues, like its map and rather archaic gameplay style. But as you can see, the visual suppression looks intense and impairs your vision without completely blinding you. Just add a blur around the edge of the screen, and a type of tunnel vision effect would look way better than what we have now. And of course, the intensity would depend on the situation, like an MG would create a far more intense tunnel vision, though not blinding, than say two guys taking pot shots at you with an AK, while explosive and getting hit will darken your screen or completely blind you. This will help you stay in gunfights more effectively without, well, one, blinding you, and two, undermining fire superiority. I have too many footage of small gunfights where I should have been able to win, but I couldn't see my target when they started firing back. Sometimes I win, sometimes I don't, and it ends up making a lesser experience when it's based on luck, when it just turns into rapid blind firing at someone right up in your face. Another issue I have is the weapon sway. Now, I hear some people say, oh, but in the original Squad it wasn't an issue. Oh no, it was. In the original Squad, your weapon would still move all over the fucking screen. The difference was you could still see through your sights just fine. So all you had to do was just readjust where your sight ended up, which led to players being able to abuse the sway to win gunfights they otherwise should not have. The combat overhaul honestly didn't change the sway that much. The gun still moves across the screen, in my opinion. Minus suppression. Of course, that did add a change to it, a new dynamic. However, you're still finding your gun moving off the screen. It's just now you have picture-in-picture scopes and you have to fight the eye box, plus the terrible blur, on top of the sway. Honestly, I always thought the weapon sway in both versions of Squad was ridiculous. It always felt like your gun was suddenly gaining sentience or a magnet was trying to take it away. I'm sorry, but no one moves their gun like this. I honestly can't understand how people try to defend this. Now, I don't want Squad to have the insurgency or siege syndrome where the gun sway is just pretty much non-existent. I think having weapon instability is very important for Squad, because if the gun's handled like say in Hell Let Loose, it feels more archaic and ruins the flow that Squad is going for. However, this anti-cheek weld noodle arm sway just is not it. And I think the best way to fix a weapon sway is kind of simple. Just do what OWI never did. Hold a real gun. Okay, that's a joke, but not really. Realistically, when you're holding a gun, there are plenty of factors that roll in, like the gun's weight, your fitness, and etc. But I want to focus on one main idea. You see, when you're holding a gun, you're trying to keep it still on target. Thing is, unless you're propped up, you won't be able to hold it still. So you have to correct, and then readjust, and that's the thing. When you're aiming, the issue isn't that your gun wants to just go to space, is that you constantly have to readjust for your own issues. Your arms give out, you're shaking too much, you feel like you can't hold it up any longer, or you're out of breath. That is what Squad needs to animate. So instead of the gun going smoothly across the screen like a DVD save screen, it should instead be flinching kind of off center, being bigger, more erratic depending on your stamina situation, of course. Never really going beyond the center of the screen unless your hit or an explosion goes off near. That means hitting further away targets or even hitting moving targets won't be easy at all, since you cannot predict where your sights will land. It will be too erratic. Now I hear you wondering, but won't this make close quarter combat quicker? Like, you're not going to be shaking over the screen and you'll be able to see clearly. That'll make it quicker, right? And yes, and that's a good thing. One of the biggest issues that the overhaul patch did was eliminate very valuable tactics, like closing the distance or room clearing. This is because even though getting close should leave less room for errors, you still cannot confidently clear an AO or hit your target, because you can't either control your aim or you just can't see. OWI set out to make firefights longer, and that does make sense for longer distance, but they overcorrected. So instead of players hitting a target from across the map with no stamina, now they can't hit the broadside of a barn at its doormat. What I'm trying to suggest is a fix, a compromise that will help make short-range combat more effective and quick, and not give players COD aim, like they're not going to have no weapon sway, while keeping suppressive fire an undeniably good tactic, because right now it's kind of the only tactic. I've been talking a lot about Squad's issues and how I think it should be fixed, and I really worry that some players will get the wrong idea. I worry that they will accuse me that I want Squad to be more casual and less team-oriented, that I want it to be more run and gun and more arcadic, and all I have to say is,
I am not trying to rob you. Trying to help you.
If I'm going to be honest, I kind of like what OWI is doing. I was initially disappointed with them and the overhaul patch, but after 7.1, I started playing Squad a lot more, and I enjoy it more than I enjoyed the original Squad. I think it's on the right track, but it's just not there yet. It shouldn't settle down and roll into microtransactions and bask in its new glory and, money and all that crap. It needs more time, more tweaking and changes before it's truly there. I know OWI might not see my video, and they might not even consider my ideas, but I just want to at least try because I want to love this game. I want to get immersed. I want to lead or be led into victory. I want those crushing defeats. I want to fight for whatever side I'm fighting for. I want to fight the enemy, but I'm not fighting the enemy. I'm fighting the game. I'm fighting bad design choices that take me out, that kill me or hinder me. I'm fighting a blur that stays on the screen long after the gunfight has ended, or my gun moving across the screen instead of just being centered. And that's how I always felt. I was fighting the game, not the enemy. But the silver lining and the reason why I keep playing is because when I do get a good game, regardless if we win, regardless if I face bugs, when you get that charismatic leader and everyone's working in harmony and the game just is what it's supposed to be, a teamwork oriented immersive experience, and I can excuse all the issues, what I do find is a damn good game. Thank you all so much for watching. I had more ideas I wanted to add, like being able to mount your rifle without bypass, that is, kind of like an Arma, or maybe even like 2019 a bit, or destructible environments, again, like Arma. Also, they should rework the leaning to be slightly faster, just a tweak really. But I felt that it was more important for the devs to focus on the game's flaws they have now, rather than adding new stuff onto the pile. I really hope my critiques are considered, especially the blur filter one. What do you think about the new Squad? Do you think they hit the mark, or was it too much? Should I add in more talking points to the video? Let me know in the comments. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. At ease.